Hi, Clarissa Booker here, your holistic health and wellness coach, here to help you find more balance in your life, reverse health condition, and just increase longevity as a whole by improving our wellness. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about anxiety and emotional eating. So, a topic that people ask often a lot about. So, we're just going to take a couple minutes just to get into that, all right? And so we're just going to explore this connection, how anxiety, stress, and emotional eating can go hand in hand, and especially for ambitious people, high achieving women, and the like. And studies will show that 75% of overeating is triggered more by emotions and not hunger. So when we think about that, we have probably conditioned ourselves a lot of time to go to food whenever something is going on, whenever we're dealing with our emotions. Okay. So, understanding some of those links to that. One is anxiety triggers. So, anxiety will release this hormone cortisol, a stress hormone, and it's going to increase our cravings for high sugar, fat, or carb foods. So, when we think about those comfort foods, sometimes you ever been stressed and you get home at the end of your day, or just something's happening even while you're working, and you just feel like you just want to eat something heavy, right? It's those high sugar foods. And then there wind up not being a lot of nutrients in there. So we wind up eating even more of them. Okay. And also to an emotional void. So emotional eating attempts to fill an emotional void, which is not true hunger. Okay. So that goes hand in hand. When we're feeling upset, instead of having a different way to cope, we turn to food. Okay. And we've all probably experienced that at one time in our life. You're just upset, whether it's food, whether it's alcohol, whether it's another substance of different things, right? Or sometimes we just fill it with extra work. But even now, just talking about that emotional eating piece to fill whatever that void is that's missing. Okay. And also, there's the temporary relief that can be at play here. While it may bring a temporary relief, it often leads to guilt or more stress. So when you think about that, sometimes it winds up being this guilt cycle. So you eat something, you feel guilty about it, and you're like, man, then you wind up eating more. And then because then you don't feel so good about yourself in that moment. And it just winds up going looping. Okay. So I don't know if anybody's ever experienced that. So some signs of emotional eating we have here are stress eating, eating when stressed out, even when not hungry. Okay. So I talk a lot about the stress eating and how that impacts our life, which is why it's so good to have an array of different ways to help us cope in a more healthy way. Okay. Comfort food cravings, craving a specific comfort food when overwhelmed. So if you're like, I have to have Doritos or Oreo cookies, for example, they can be yummy, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're hungry. Okay. Because that's that specific craving for, it's just like, oh, like, if when you're growing up, say you got rewarded with ice cream, or in the opposite way, the same thing, which is another emotional thing. When you're upset and people are like, well, let's just go eat something, let's just go get a drink. And then you wind up associating that with it as a way of comfort. Mindless consumption, eating quickly without tasting or enjoying the food. So you're just eating on the run, you're rushing, you're in the car, you're just like rummaging through your food and you're not putting a lot of time into it. And a lot of times when that happens, you don't even notice when you're full. Okay. And that just kind of happens if we don't take the time to sit down and plan, like, I'm going to eat right now. So when, especially like when we're multitasking, like, I'm hungry, but I don't feel like taking a break, giving yourself that self-care to take that break, but instead you're just rushing and eating and you're not really paying attention to what's going on. Okay. And then we have the guilt cycle, which I touched on a second ago, feeling guilt after eating, but repeating the cycle just because it winds up being a learned thing. And then you just wind up going through it over and over and becoming that cycle. So the science of stress eating. So we have the reward system for the high sugar or high fat foods that release the dopamine, the feel good hormone. This creates a comforting sensation in the moment. Okay. So back to that comfort food, like I'm upset. I had a bad day, but man, this piece of cake that I had in the refrigerator is really good right now. And, and then it's just kind of sinking in there. Habit formation. Over time, the brain associates eating with stress relief. So this turns into a hard to break habit without new coping mechanisms. So we have to do that inner work to figure out what's going on in order to do that, or else it would just be that easy, right? Because if you develop this habit of being stressed all day and then going home, having a glass of wine and having some pie, I'm just saying different random pieces of food, right? It could be macaroni and cheese. It could just be a number of things, okay? And that could be plant-based or animal, regardless if it's heavy and if it has excess sugar, salt, and fat in it, regardless of the source, it's not going to be ideal for our body, right? It's not going to be nutrient dense. So when you start doing that and you start doing it repeatedly, that's when that habit comes, and then you associate that feeling with it. Man, I'm stressed. I'm on cycle, right? I know that I'm stressed. I'm ready to put this computer away, whatever it is. This meeting is taking too long. I'm done with my trip. I've been gone for 2 weeks. I'm home, and then when you're away, what did you do? You had that habit continuing on as a way to cope. Okay. And then this just becomes that stress eating cycle there. So breaking the anxiety food, all right? Mindful eating, which is, going to be the opposite, of course, of mindless eating. So slowing down, tasting our food, and just recognizing everything, the physical and the emotional hunger. So taking the moment, and whenever we do eat slower, we can recognize when we're full, right? Sometimes whenever you're eating, you could feel that pause, and you might put your fork down and you might just start talking, and you feel satisfied. But sometimes if we're not paying attention, you just pick it up automatically and you start eating again. So taking that in, looking at the textures of what you're eating, just appreciating your food. Like, where did it come from? How does it taste, right? How does it smell? Just being enjoy it in the moment. And this will also help you recognizing the physical versus the emotional hunger, right? Am I truly hungry? Did I reach satiety, right? Am I 80% full? And then getting in tune. And sometimes working with people, like we help people as coaches, right? So I love helping people to sit there that are stressed out, especially running businesses and just being professionals, because it's sometimes you don't even see it coming. It just one day you look and you're like, man, how did I get here? What happened? Okay. And so, like, we love to do that. And addressing triggers, identifying situations, emotions, or stressors that make you reach for food. So, tapping in and knowing what that is, trying to realize what was the trigger that got you to that point so that you can then have a plan. So you might be like, well, if I knew that would be in a situation, right? I get it. Okay. And so that's where we come in as well. So we even have like contact information, for when people are ready to take that step. So, because we are about improving health. Also, healthy substitutions. Okay. Movement. So you could always make a list and figure out what it is that you enjoy. What you like doing for movement. Do you have an active meditation practice? Even if it's just 5 minutes to start, just to get you there. Then a lot of times once you start with that, you start feeling it and then you want to continue on. Ideally 10, 15 minutes would be better. Yes, of course. But if you're new to meditation, start with 5. Then you might notice one day you're craving 20, right? But if you're new, you might be like, that might be hard for me. And I understand. But in the end of the day, there should be no judgment in any of these practices, especially when it comes to mindfulness practices, meditation practices. It's about being in the moment. And there should definitely be no judgment. All right. Journaling, which goes hand in hand with the meditation. I always suggest go into prayer, meditate, and journal, and you'll be amazed at what comes up. Just let it flow. Let it flow, okay? Deep breathing. Absolutely wonderful. I love breath work. There's many different types of breath work. And for example, I love to put it all together, okay? And there's many different kinds of movement, but for example, if you do enjoy yoga and you don't even have to do vinyasa yoga. Vinyasa yoga is wonderful. You could do hatha when you take out like the chaturangas. If you look and you be like, oh, what is she doing? Okay. You can work up to that if you want. They're all good. And because hatha is good, there's yin. I could go on and on. But at the end of the day, where I was going with that is, for example, if you go into a yoga session and there's breath involved and that helps get you centered, you either can end with a meditation, breath work. You could have breath work in your meditation. Even if we do the movement separately, just so it doesn't seem overwhelming. You could have your meditation in your meditation session. You could have breath work and then you can journal. Okay. Wonderful. And you can incorporate the mindful eating, knowing and recognizing, becoming aware what your triggers are, and then having more healthy ways to cope. And if you have this all planned out, you could be good to go. And we can go over that with you, with helping you get a really good plan. Okay. Physical versus emotional hunger, which I touched on a little minute ago. Physical hunger builds gradually, okay? Open to eating a variety of food. Just like I say, be like, look, I gotta have them Doritos right now. They sound real good, okay? That's gonna be more of that emotional hunger. That's gonna come on suddenly. You crave a specific kind of food, right? Compared to just, you feel the hunger coming on. It's like, yeah, I haven't eaten in a couple of hours. I'm feeling like I'm about to be hungry. What should I eat? Then, the food that you probably have meal prepped already. Okay. Then you're more inclined to that. So that is one way to help you differentiate from those hungers. Okay. Mindfulness, which I am a big advocate for mindfulness. Yes. Breath work and meditation, which we talked about, it can help reduce emotional eating by up to 30% by increasing self-awareness. So ideally, we can include mindfulness into different aspects of our health, and especially, this helps with the mindful eating aspect. It helps with the stress management. There's many, many wonderful factors, benefits there. Journaling, writing down your triggers, emotions, and patterns around food to bring subconscious habits into awareness. So, just like I was saying, it allows stuff to come up. I mean, there might even been some thoughts that were weighing on your mind that you thought you forgot all about, but subconsciously they were still there. And giving them space to come up will help you process that, okay? Instead of just pushing it down and suppressing it, does not go anywhere, okay? You know that it's still spewing. Have you ever forgiven somebody, right? But you didn't really forgive them. You just said that to move on. And then one day the situation just comes up. You'd be like, well, I thought we we're past that. But there really wasn't the work done internally for yourself. We all should have work with forgiveness. Forgiveness is an amazing word that we all should have, right? But sometimes it's harder than others, depending on what the situation is, and that's okay, right? And there's definitely people that can help with working through forgiveness, okay? Mindful eating, the savoring each bite, how does it taste, the textures, the smell, just using all of your senses, okay? And just checking in with your feelings before and after eating. And you also can journal about that as well. That's not journaling saying I ate this and these were the calorie counting. And that's not what I mean. I mean, how do you feel, right? So I feel really good about what I ate and I feel more energized versus, I had that takeout and I feel so lethargic and heavy right now, right? So there's a difference in that feeling. How is it going into your body? Okay. Some lovely healthy alternatives to stress. We have some yoga, ooh, some sleep here, some aromatherapy, just different things that we can do and finding out what that is for you. Okay. being open to trying different things is absolutely wonderful. Okay. Building a balanced relationship. Now we have eating regularly. This is really good. So, avoiding skipping meals to prevent cravings and overeating. And this is excellent for your metabolism as well. So, a lot of times, whenever we're stressing and emotional eating, we might have put on some excess weight. And it's about being healthy. Okay. So, it's not about a specific number on the scale. I do suggest people to get rid of your scale, throw it out, put it somewhere, don't look at it. Okay. Because the scale can mess with your head. It really can. And it's better to take like a measurements or pictures if you want to do some kind of tracking per se. But the scale is not good because ideally also whenever you're working out and you're doing strength, doing any kind of strength training, muscle weighs more than fat and it's denser and it's sleek. And so if you see that, it might kind of mess with you. And then ideally, if you're starting something new, maybe the first week or so, you're losing more weight, and that's water weight. So ideally, it's not good. But where I'm going, eating regularly, this will help your metabolism, okay, and eating a good blend of foods, your fiber, which you're getting from your plant-based foods, protein, your carbs, all of that good stuff, right? Healthy fats is what I'm looking for. This slipped my mind for a second. So your healthy fats, your fiber, your protein, and this will also help you feel full. And so if you're eating these regularly, you're not even really going to be hungry. So when you eat in this manner, you're going to notice that you tend to snack less, okay? Wonderful feeling because you just feel satisfied, you feel full. And then even if, for example, if you do have a sweet tooth, you can keep some fruit, which is filling, which is nature's candy, which is okay. All right. Reframe your view. Reframe how you view food. Do you view it as nourishment, not a reward or a punishment? Okay. It's that goes back to the emotional eating aspect. And you know it happens, right? I know there's been times I can think when like, hey, let's go celebrate, go get some ice cream, or let's just do this or that. And so trying to take that away from it, okay, instead of us just thinking about it in that manner as it being a reward, or you can't have that because you didn't do good, or you only get that dessert when you get an A on your test, or now you didn't get it, so now you can have it. So that it puts it in that reward system instead of us just using it as it is to nourish our body, to help our immune system, to help all our systems, to help us grow and have energy and be productive, all of these things. So it helps us. It could fight disease or it could feed disease. Okay. So what we put in our body is absolutely amazing. So just trying to reframe how we see it. Okay. Finding joy elsewhere. So, what do you like to do? What brings you joy? Do you have any hobbies? What is it? So, do you like hiking, running, any of the things? What do you like to do for self-care? Do you like your spa day? Yes. Do you like massages, facials, nails, all of those things, right? Find out what it is. I know sometimes we get wrapped up and our schedule just gets in the way, but just finding that time to be like, this is for me right now. And the thing is that when you block it, I used to be so guilty of this, right? I would block a time off and I'd be like, well, I'm gonna put this in there, right? I'd be like, I'm just gonna do this thing right here and not gonna get this done. But I had to learn to do that for myself, right? How to allow myself that self-care. And I feel so much better whenever I do that. I do. Mm-mm-mm. And you will too. Okay, so don't be like me. I do not recommend that. Make sure whatever that block is that you designate to yourself because you surely deserve it, that you leave it there. Okay. And relaxation techniques. So, yeah, like the massage, the sleep. Okay, let's throw some sleep in there. Are you getting at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night? Are you getting your restful sleep? So, the meditation, which can help you relax, can also help you sleep because it helps can decompress you, it can put you in that relaxative state. Feels so good. So, finding that out, so maybe just making a list and just knowing what that is for you. And of course, we're definitely here to help you with a wellness plan. Okay. So your journey to freedom starts now. Okay. So, one, identifying a trigger, recognize one emotional eating trigger you experience. to replace with a healthy coping. So choose a healthier mechanism. Just start with one, okay? You don't have to be like, I'm going to do all of them. Just start with one, whether that be journaling, breath work, or just finding someone to talk to, okay? Finding out what that is, having a coach help you also. Sometimes a neutral person is the best. All right. Sometimes it is. And above all, practice self-compassion. All right. Yes, yes, yes. Remember, it's about self-awareness, not willpower, because willpower can go. So being in tune with ourselves and recognizing what that is and just being honest with ourselves, okay? Just being honest with whatever that is without any judgment or anything like that. And also, I would love to help you. Do you need somebody to help you put that plan together? Because sometimes you could be like, you don't know where to start, or maybe you tried it before. Whatever that is, without any judgment, we can definitely help you. And so there is a link down there for you to fill out, and you just read through all of that, just answer some questions, and we got you. Okay. So also, I would love for you to comment any questions below and I will respond to them. All right. Until next time, guys. See ya.